At 79 years old, Dolly Parton, the voice of timeless songs, the sparkle of Southern grace, and the woman who turned her pain into poetry, is facing one of the hardest chapters of her life. For decades, she's been the heart of country music, a symbol of hope wrapped in sequins and sincerity. But lately, fans have noticed something different. The radiant smile has dimmed slightly, the high heels are set aside more often, and her once unstoppable schedule has come to a quiet halt. When news broke that Dolly had postponed her long-awaited Las Vegas residency and canceled public appearances, fans feared the worst. Then came the heartbreaking reports. Her husband, Carl Dean, the man she called her greatest love, had passed away. Suddenly, the woman who had always sung about heartbreak was living through one of her own, and as if grief weren't enough, Dolly's health began to suffer too. What started as a small medical issue grew into something serious enough to send her to the hospital. But in true Dolly fashion, she refused to let fear or pain define her. Instead, she looked straight at the camera and told the world, "I ain't dead yet." This is the deeply emotional story of what really happened to Dolly Parton at 79, and how even in her darkest hours, her spirit continues to shine. For more than 6 decades, Dolly Parton has been the face of joy, resilience, and relentless positivity. From the moment she stepped onto the Grand Ole Opry stage, she radiated the kind of energy that could brighten even the darkest corners of a listener's heart. Her sparkling gowns, her contagious laughter, and her kind words made millions feel like they knew her personally. But even icons have private storms, and in 2025, those who adored her began to sense that something was wrong. Dolly had always kept a busy schedule: concerts, interviews, charity events, and of course, her beloved Dollywood appearances. She prided herself on showing up for her fans no matter what. So when she abruptly canceled a major Dollywood event for the first time in years, people took notice. Her team cited health reasons, but offered few details. What many didn't know was that Dolly had been struggling with a painful kidney stone that led to an infection. It was enough to put her under close medical care and force her to rest, something she rarely allowed herself to do. Those close to Dolly described how difficult it was for her to slow down. She had always pushed herself beyond limits, saying, "I'll rest when I'm dead." But this time, her body simply refused to cooperate. Her doctors insisted she stop traveling, performing, and even attending public functions until she made a full recovery. For a woman whose life revolved around her fans and her music, being told to rest felt like a kind of punishment. Yet the physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional weight she was carrying. Behind the scenes, Dolly was quietly mourning the loss of her husband, Carl Dean, the man who had been her constant for nearly 60 years. Their love story was a rare one in the world of fame and flashing lights. Carl was a private man who preferred staying out of the spotlight while Dolly shined in it. Their marriage survived gossip, fame, and time because it was built on quiet devotion and humor. His passing left Dolly heartbroken. Friends say she found it hard to sleep. Some nights she'd sit on her porch in the Tennessee moonlight, reminiscing about their early days, when she was just a hopeful singer, and he was the man who fell for her simplicity before the world knew her name. Carl always saw Dolly, not the star, one close friend shared. Losing him was like losing her anchor. The grief began to show. Her once tireless energy slowed. She turned down invitations. Even her laughter, that signature bubbly sound, carried a hint of sadness. But Dolly, ever the optimist, refused to let heartbreak defeat her. She started journaling again, writing new songs inspired by loss, love, and the meaning of aging gracefully. When fans expressed concern online, Dolly released a brief message thanking them for their love. She didn't go into detail about her health or her grief, but her words carried emotion. "I'm just taking a little time to heal body and soul," she said. "I'll be back before you know it." In many ways, this period marked a shift for Dolly, a transition from unstoppable performer to reflective survivor. The sparkle was still there, but now it was softer, wiser, and touched by pain. Her story reminds us that even legends have limits. Behind the bright wigs and glittering rhinestones was a woman learning, for the first time in her life, to slow down and take care of herself. And though her fans missed her presence on stage, they understood that Dolly's strength wasn't just in her ability to perform, it was in her courage to pause, heal, and rise again. By September 2025, Dolly Parton's fans were eagerly counting down the days to her grand Las Vegas residency, a show she'd promised would be one of her most dazzling performances yet. For months, promotional posters lit up the Vegas Strip, and hotels were preparing for what they knew would be a sold-out run. But then, with only a few months to go, the news hit like a thunderbolt. Dolly's entire residency was being postponed indefinitely. The announcement was brief and respectful. Her team explained that Dolly was dealing with ongoing health challenges and had been advised by her doctors to undergo several medical procedures before returning to the stage. They didn't share many details, but the message was clear. Dolly needed time to heal. Within hours, headlines spread across entertainment outlets and fans began to fear the worst. Social media filled with questions. Is Dolly okay? Is she retiring? Is she battling something serious? In truth, Dolly was simply obeying the same advice she had ignored for years, to slow down and put her health first. Her recent infection had led to complications that required minor but important treatments. She was exhausted, both physically and emotionally, from pushing herself to maintain the high-energy lifestyle she'd always led. I realized I'd been running on fumes, she later confessed. You can't pour from an empty cup no matter how much you love what you do. For Dolly, taking a break didn't come easy. Performing wasn't just her job, it was her lifeline. Since childhood, the stage had been her home, her comfort, and her greatest joy. The idea of disappointing her fans broke her heart, but deep down she knew that the only way to continue sharing her gift was to take this step back. During those quiet months away from the spotlight, Dolly surrounded herself with family, longtime friends, and her team of trusted caregivers. Her sister Stella became one of her biggest sources of support. Friends who visited her in Tennessee described a calmer Dolly, one who spent her mornings writing in her notebook, sipping tea on the porch, and watching the sunrise over the Smoky Mountains. Inside her home, memories of her late husband Carl filled every corner. His old photos, his notes, and even his favorite chair became sacred reminders of their life together. One day, while sorting through some of his belongings, Dolly found an old letter he had written to her during her early days in Nashville. In his neat handwriting, it read, "You keep singing, Dolly. No matter what happens, don't you ever stop." That message struck her deeply. It reminded her that music wasn't just her career, it was her connection to the people she loved, to her fans, and to her purpose in life. Even though her heart was still healing, she felt a renewed spark of determination. Instead of focusing on what she couldn't do, Dolly began focusing on what she still could. She spent hours in her home studio, quietly recording new songs, intimate, emotional pieces that reflected her current journey. They weren't about fame or fortune. They were about acceptance, memory, and gratitude. And while fans worried she might be stepping away for good, Dolly made sure to reassure them in her own way. Through small updates and heartfelt messages, she let the world know she was okay, that this was just a pause, not the end. Industry insiders later revealed that Dolly was already planning to reschedule her Las Vegas shows for fall 2026, saying she wanted to return better than ever. She also expressed her gratitude to fans who sent her thousands of letters, cards, and gifts while she was recovering. That period of rest and reflection became one of the most defining moments in Dolly Parton's later life. For once, she wasn't the unstoppable performer or the glittering superstar. She was just Dolly, the woman who had loved deeply, lost painfully, and learned that sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is to simply stop and breathe. The day everything changed for Dolly wasn't the day she postponed her shows. It was the day she finally realized that her worth wasn't measured by how much she could give, but by how much she could still love herself enough to heal. As the weeks turned into months, the internet became a swirl of concern, confusion, and speculation about Dolly Parton's condition. Every news outlet seemed to have a theory, and social media was filled with emotional posts from fans fearing the worst. Some claimed Dolly was in critical condition. Others suggested she might never perform again. For a woman who had spent her entire life giving joy, it was heartbreaking to see her fans consumed by worry. So, in true Dolly fashion, she decided to speak for herself. One quiet Sunday afternoon, she appeared on camera in a short, unfiltered video posted to her official page. There she was, sitting comfortably in her Tennessee home, wearing a bright floral blouse, her blonde hair perfectly styled, and that familiar smile shining through. "Hey, y'all," she began with a soft laugh. "I just wanted to hop on here to say I'm okay. I ain't dead yet!" Her lighthearted tone instantly broke the tension. Millions of fans around the world breathed a sigh of relief. Within hours, the clip went viral, gathering tens of millions of views. The world was reminded that even in pain, Dolly could still make people smile. But beneath her laughter, there was honesty. She admitted that she had been going through a little rough patch and needed time to rest and listen to her doctors. "They told me to slow down," she said. "And I reckon it's about time I do." The video wasn't just reassurance, it was a lesson. Dolly's simple message became a beacon for everyone who struggles with slowing down or admitting vulnerability. She reminded her fans that even the strongest hearts need care, and even the most joyful souls face dark days. "Y'all know I've always been a go-getter," she said. "But lately, I've learned it's okay to take a breath, to heal, and to let life move at its own pace." Following that message, Dolly's fans flooded her with love. Letters poured in from around the globe, from nurses thanking her for inspiring them during tough hospital shifts, to single mothers who said her songs got them through heartbreak and loss. One fan wrote, "Dolly, you taught me that kindness is power. Take all the time you need, we'll be right here." Those words touched her deeply. In interviews afterward, Dolly revealed that her health scare had been a wake-up call. She had spent so many years pouring her energy into music, philanthropy, and public appearances that she had forgotten to prioritize herself. "You can't be everything for everyone if you're running on empty," she said. That realization changed her outlook completely. Dolly started following a healthier lifestyle. Daily walks around her property, light meals, and meditation sessions that helped her stay centered. She also reconnected with her faith, spending quiet mornings in prayer and reflection. To her, healing wasn't just physical. It was emotional and spiritual. But what truly amazed everyone was that even in recovery, Dolly never stopped giving. She continued overseeing her imagination library, the literacy program she founded decades ago, which had by then gifted over 200 million free books to children worldwide. Her team revealed that she personally reviewed new stories and occasionally wrote letters that were included in book shipments. When asked if she ever thought about retirement, Dolly just smiled. "I'll stop when I stop breathing," she said with her signature twang. "Music is who I am, but for now, I'm learning to sing a little slower." Her message to the world wasn't one of sadness, but of strength. It showed that true courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "I need a moment." And by showing that vulnerability, Dolly Parton reminded everyone that even living legends are human, and that healing in all its forms is a journey worth taking. Today, at 79 years old, Dolly Parton stands as more than just a country music icon. She's a symbol of perseverance, grace, and heart. Her journey from a poor mountain girl in Tennessee to one of the most beloved entertainers in the world is a story that continues to inspire generations. But what makes her story truly powerful isn't just the fame or the awards. It's the strength she's shown when life tested her the most. After the difficult months of recovery, Dolly emerged not as a broken woman, but as someone transformed by gratitude. Those close to her say she carries herself with even more peace now. Her priorities have shifted from chasing new milestones to cherishing the moments that matter most. "I've done just about everything I ever dreamed of," she recently said in an interview. "But now I just want to enjoy what I've built and give thanks for it all." Her team confirmed that her postponed Las Vegas residency has been rescheduled for fall 2026, and Dolly herself promised that it will be the most emotional show she's ever done. She plans to dedicate portions of the concert to her late husband, Carl Dean, whose love, she says, still guides every note she sings. Fans can expect heartfelt tributes, rare stories, and songs that trace her incredible life, from her early struggles to her triumphs, and everything in between. But beyond the stage lights and glitter, Dolly's influence continues to grow. Her imagination library keeps expanding to new countries. Her charitable foundations continue to fund medical research and disaster relief, and her gentle words continue to heal broken hearts. Few artists have ever blended fame and compassion as seamlessly as Dolly Parton. What's remarkable is that despite her success, she's never let fame define her. She often jokes, "It costs a lot of money to look this cheap," but behind that humor is a deep humility. She's always seen herself as a simple woman who just happened to live an extraordinary life. Her laughter, her honesty, and her authenticity remain her greatest treasures. In recent months, Dolly has spoken openly about aging, not with fear, but with pride. "I've earned every year," she says. "I don't want to be 20 again. I just want to live long enough to keep doing some good." Those words capture her essence. A woman who refuses to be defined by time. When she looks back at her journey, from writing Coat of Many Colors, as a young girl to becoming a household name, she sees not a career, but a mission. Every song, every show, every act of kindness was part of something bigger. "If I've made someone smile or helped them through a hard day," she said, "then I've done my job." It's easy to see why fans feel such a personal connection to her. Dolly Parton doesn't just perform, she comforts, inspires, and heals. Her music is timeless because her heart is real. Even now, after losing her husband, after facing health battles, and after enduring the loneliness that fame often brings, she continues to shine with the same warmth that first drew the world to her. In one of her most touching quotes, she said, "I don't fear death. I know where I'm going, but until I get there, I'm gonna keep singing." That single line sums up the legacy of Dolly Parton. Her life is proof that joy can coexist with sorrow, that resilience can live beside pain, and that kindness, even in the darkest times, never fades. So when you see her at 79, smiling through it all, remember, this isn't the end of Dolly Parton's story. It's another verse in a song that will live forever, a melody of hope, love, and unshakable strength. And somewhere in the Tennessee hills, under a soft golden sunset, Dolly Parton is still singing, quietly, beautifully, and with all her heart.